secondly, neutral.
Traffic R33.
Alright, just a little touch of aft cycle. There you go. It's coming straight up. Just pause for a second. Alright, hover power's about 21. That's good. Alright, center of gravity feels good. Alright, continue forward.
Here's a 1-4 repair line. Alright, well, thank you. We'll be inbound for runway 14. We'll be entering left downwind for...
Alright, nose coming right. Tail clear on the left. Open right. Yeah, see they got the footings dug out. They're going to do a big radio tower right there.
It's a confidence by practice so far.
One more thing for you to dodge, trying to fly the helicopter. Alright, so what we're going to do today is we're going to take off, depart the traffic pattern. We're going to do steep turns.
Okay.
We're going to do Vortex ring state recognition and recovery. And then we'll probably talk about auto entering glide a little bit today.
Alright.
7 miles to the southeast, and we'll be flying over the high school, entering 45 for the downwind for runway 14.
Touch and go. Alright, so take off from parallel taxiway 14, and it'll be a right turnout departure to the southwest. Pressure on the cyclic. Remember, don't spill that soup off the rotor disc. Alright. Here comes ETL. A little more forward pressure. There it is. More forward pressure. A little bit of right pedal. Stay down here at 5 to 8 feet. Accelerate to 45 and climb out at 60. Alright, on a calm wind day. Helicopter 860 Victor Alpha on the go. Parallel taxiway 14. We're going to be right turnout departure to the southwest.
Hey, parallel traffic, Archer 3483, we're friends at high school, entering the 45 for runway 14, parallel. And parallel, we got that traffic on the downwind in sight, will be number 2 behind them for 14, parallel.
Alright, winds are pretty light, right? We got a wind indicator right there, right? Some smoke coming from that direction. Look at the smoke down there by Chocolate Bayou Refinery. Yep. It's just going straight up. It's hardly moving. Alright, clear to the left, clear to center, and clear around to the right. So we're going to depart from the right crosswind. Parallel traffic, helicopter, 0 Victor Alpha, right crosswind departure to the southwest, 600, Maryland. Alright, so we're just going to go out over this field right over here at 1 o'clock, just on the other side of the railroad tracks here.
Yep.
And we're going to do some steep turns. Right, so steep turns in a helicopter, not significantly different from steep turns in an airplane. In that as you're turning, right, you got to watch the horizon, right, because if you let the nose come up while you're in the turn, you're going to slow down and climb. And if you let the nose dip while you're in the turn, you're going to speed up and you're going to descend, right? And the other thing that is the same as in an airplane is the steeper that you turn, the more power it takes, right? So as you roll in and you know that you're going to do a steep turn, right? You've also got to raise the collective at the same time, because if you don't, you're going to start losing altitude, right? Because when we talked, remember we talked in class a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when you roll into a turn, you're adding another horizontal component that you're taking away from that vertical lift, right? So we talked about during takeoff, you got that vertical component of lift, and you got that horizontal component that's thrust, right? And so if you accelerate too quickly when you're trying to take off without an additional added power, without adding some more power, the helicopter dips a little bit because you're taking away some of that vertical component of lift, right? Well, similar thing happens when you enter the turn, right? So you've got a vertical component of lift, you've got a horizontal component of thrust, and as you roll into the turn, you're now adding a third vector, right, that is stealing some of that vertical component of lift. And the steeper that you turn, we're going to use this field up here to the left, the steeper that you turn, the more power that you need, right? And so typically up until now, you haven't done a really steep turn. It's been a very shallow turn, which hasn't required very much additional power, right? And even a 30-degree bank only takes about 15% more power, right? But you get into a 45-degree bank, it's going to take 42% more power. And if you roll into a 60-degree bank, it's going to take 100% more power if you want to maintain your same altitude and same airspeed, right? So typically, if you're going to be going into a really steep turn, you're going to have to slow down. You're going to put some half cycling in at the same time if you want to maintain your altitude, because typically you'd rather maintain your altitude than your airspeed in the turn, right? So we're going to do, just like you do in an airplane, we're going to do some ground reference maneuvers, and we're just going to use the outline of this field, and we're just going to turn, do a 90-degree right-hand turn, do a 90 right-hand, so you can start on whatever corner that you want to.
What altitude do you want me to?
Let's go up to 1,000, right? So we'll level off at 1,000, and you can do right or left, doesn't matter. I guess you're going to do left here, or actually let's turn right, because you want to kind of out your side is easier to see for you. And so we're going to use the outline of that field there as kind of our ground reference as we're going to turn. Initially, we're just going to do some turn, 90 degrees, turn, 90 degrees, and just do a little box there, right? So that field over your right shoulder there, that's what we're going to use as our ground reference.
Traffic, Archer 384.
What airspeed?
Let's do 60. Yeah, let's do 60. Alright, clear to left, clear to center, and clear around right. Alright, so we'll get lined up with this drainage ditch here. That's kind of our first ground track here. And 1,000 feet, 60 knots.
Fairland regional traffic, Archer 4780, clear 14 and Alpha 4. Fairland regional.
Alright, then we're going to go down here to this next corner. Turn right 90 degrees. And then when we get to that corner, we're going to do a right 180 and come back this way, kind of paralleling. Alright, and then we'll do a left 180 going that back. So we'll kind of do some S-turns back and forth across the field. Alright, and so 60 knots, a pretty good airspeed, right? The R-22 doesn't have a published maneuvering speed like an airplane would, but clear on the left, center, clear around right. But you could probably argue pretty strongly that 60 knots is probably, you could say, is probably like maneuvering speed in the R-22. It just handles really nicely at 60, right? And so we're going to stay at 1,000 feet and 60 knots. All right, so now when we get to this corner, we're going to do a right 180 and head back. So we're going to parallel this edge of this field right here that we're on as we turn. All right, so this one's going to be a steeper turn, right? Because we want to do it. We want to basically use about half the. See that fence running through the middle there? That's going to be our next ground track coming back this way. All right, so clear on the left, center, and clear on right. All right, so.
Man, I keep climbing up for some reason.
Yeah, a little pitch attitude. All right, pitch attitude plus power equals performance. Coming around to the right. And again, this is not really a steep turn here. All right, we're going to crank this thing over to the next one. We're going to do a little steeper here. Get this thing turned around there a little tighter. All right, but you also have to fix your altitude. All right, so there we go. There's your 1,000 feet back. All right, so raise the collective a little bit. Stop that rate of descent. There's your 60 knots. All right, so when we get to the end here, we're going to turn left 180 degrees.
180?
180, yep. 180 degree left-hand turn.
Alright.
Alright, so there we go. Alright, roll into the turn here. I'm going to raise the collective a little bit. Alright, watch the horizon as you turn.
Alright.
Alright, and roll out. Alright, 60 knots, 1,000 feet. Alright, we're going to get to that one. 90 degree right hand turn, sorry, 180 degree right hand turn.
Don't do that then. Alright.
Alright, 1,000 feet, 60 knots. Clear left, center, clear on right. Alright, so look that way, watch the horizon, don't let that nose dip.
I see. That's like 45, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably about a 45 degree bank. Alright, and as you roll out, lower the collector just a little bit, back to where you had it. Alright, there you go. And we'll do a left 180 in this next one. So, like I said, a lot of similarities, right? The steeper that you turn, the more power it's going to take. And just watch that horizon as you turn. You want to look through the turn, right? You're looking for traffic, right? But you're also watching that horizon because you want to keep it in that same relative position on the windshield, right? If you want to maintain your same airspeed.
Man, I'm getting
Gain 200 feet on that one.
100 feet.
All right, a little bit of right pedal and trim.
Trim. If you have a door, it feels nicer.
What about the door?
I'm not gonna drop out.
See, look, you're not gonna fall out of the helicopter, right? With no door.
Alright. That's a nice day, man.
Right, so this is a much steeper turn, right? And we're losing 1,000 feet per minute right now because there's no way that I'm going to be able to maintain that same altitude, right? Because it's just going to take too much power.
Jesus. Yeah.
Right, so we lost some altitude on that because, right, that was a really steep turn, right? And I didn't want to add too much more power, right? Because you add too much power, right? And then you start losing rotor RPM and a whole bunch of other bad things happen, right? So in that case, right, we lost a little altitude, right? Because it required significantly more power, right? We were not going to be able to maintain the same altitude and the same airspeed at that steep of a turn, right? So I gave up some altitude to make the turn happen, right? But typically we want to maintain that same altitude, so the steeper that you turn, you got to put a little bit of aft cyclic in as you turn because you need to slow down just a little bit, right? Basically going to trade off, 10 knots airspeed or so. But if you don't do too steep of a turn, you can maintain 60 knots, no problem. We got enough excess power where you can maintain a 30 degree bank at 60 with no problem, right? Because a 30 degree bank is only about 15 or 16% more power required, and so you can handle that no problem.
You don't have what the altitude indicator? Nothing is. So how can you tell?
You got the world's largest altitude indicator right there, man. Look, right there. That's it. All right, we'll want to do one more left, 180 back around to the left.
All right. That's about 60, I guess.
Alright, so let's get back down to 1,060, and this time we're going to do a 360 turn right over the middle of this field. Alright, so let's get settled back down, get back down to, somehow you gained 300 feet in that turn.
Yeah. And put a lot of power on.
Yeah, you added probably a little too much power and you slowed down at the same time. And so we managed to gain 300 feet. And in that turn, alright, let's get back down to 1,000 here. Right, so when you're doing this, you kind of still got to cross-check a little bit while you're in the turn, right? You want to check your PSI and make sure that you're not climbing or descending, right? You want to check your altimeter and make sure you're still at 1,000 feet. You want to check your airspeed, make sure you're still at 60, right? And because we're going to try to maintain the same altitude, the same airspeed, right, throughout the turn. And because, like I say, if we just do like maybe a 30 degree bank or so, we're going to be able to, we have an additional 15% power, so we don't have to slow down to maintain it. We're going to do a 360. And just right here over to this field, stay at 1,000 feet, 60 knots, all right, and in trim. All right, so our field's back over there behind us.
Yeah, see that, I'm slowed down when I'm taking the turn, that's why.
Which, if you go into a steeper turn, like a 45-degree turn, yeah, you're probably going to have to put in a little half cyclic as you roll in, because, yeah, we don't have 40% more additional power, 42% more additional power, right? So in that case, yeah, we probably would have to slow down a little bit, more than likely, right? So we're going to just do a nice little 360 turn all the way around, right, over this field here. Let's crank it over a little bit steeper here. There you go, about right there. And he's like 1,200 feet, that's what it is. You don't want to be at 1,000 feet, like I want to be at 1,200 feet.
Guess we have to do it on this side so I can...
Okay, we'll do it on that side. All right.
I can navigate easy on my side.
You can navigate easier on your side, that's true. Alright, so primarily I want to be looking out there at the horizon, right, as you're turning, right, because that's going to give you your pitch attitude while you're in the turn.
I'm getting at it.
Now we're doing 70 knots. Let's lower the reflector just a little bit. All right, get us back down to our 1,000 feet. A little bit of right pedal when you lower the collective. Remember those pedals are connected to your left hand more than anything. Well, you just pick a spot and just fly around in a circle.
Yeah, picking those
You know.
spots right
Yeah, like
there.
that little blue bar down there or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
Am I too close to it?
Yeah, so now as the wind's blowing you a little bit closer.
Alright.
But it's less about looking down at the spot than more about looking at the horizon. Alright, so we're still climbing here. You know what, we need to go to 1,500 feet anyway, so because now we're only doing 40 knots. Alright. And
So we do about like 30 degrees.
yeah, so you know, between 30 and 45 degrees is pretty. That's pretty good. Once you go past about 45 degrees, you really got to, like you say, I did that really, really steep one, and yeah, we were losing a lot of altitude in order to do that. All right, I got flight controls.
Yeah, I have the
All right. Let's see, what's pretty calm here. All right, because the reason that you need to be able to do a turn while you're in a helicopter is, you know, if the engine quits, right?
I don't
Gotta
mind.
collect down. All right, and we're gonna turn back in. All right, because everywhere around us is a swamp full of angry alligators. All right, guess what? Hey, this is a steep turn. I'm just doing this turn in and auto rotation.
Alright.
All right, so as you turn, that rotor RPM wants to go up, so I had to raise the collective to control my rotor RPM.
I see.
All right, and then as we roll out here, I'm going to lower the collective just a little bit because now I don't have that load factor anymore. There we go, we did a little 360 spiral down to the landing area here, roll the throttle back up, and wait. Alright, so flying a helicopter with no engine. Alright, you're still flying a helicopter, just got no engine. Alright, so now we're going to head over to this field over here since we terrorized that field. And now you got all flight controls. Alright, so we're going to stay on this side of the power lines over here. We're going to head over that way. And not a whole lot of wind today. What little bit of wind there is, looks like it's coming out of the southwest over here. See that pond right there?
Yeah.
And that pond right there? Wind's coming from that direction. Alright, so this time we're going to talk about vortex ring state recognition and recovery, right? So what is a vortex ring state, right? What conditions do you have to have present in order to get into it? And if you get into it, how do you get out of it, right? So, so vortex ring state, right, is a helicopter settles into its own downwash, right? Develops a secondary vortex on the rotor system, right? And the way that you know that you have a fully developed vortex ring state is if you raise the collective in an attempt to arrest your rate of descent, your rate of descent gets worse, right? And the three things that you need to get into the vortex ring state, right, are you must have low forward airspeed, less than ETL. You must have a rate of descent greater than 300 feet per minute. Right, and you must have at least 20% of available power applied. If you don't have more than 20% of available power applied, you're not in the vortex ring state, you're in auto rotation, right? Because all of the wind is up through the rotor system. Right? And so how do we get out of it? Well, the easiest way to get out of it is just accelerate and get back through ETL. So wind's coming out of the southwest. We're going to turn to the east here a little bit, and we're actually going to have a little bit of a tailwind, right? So a tailwind is not required, right? But if you have a tailwind, you're more likely to get into it, right? And so we're going to do everything wrong here, right? We're going to slow down less than ETL. All right, we've got some smoke over there, got some smoke over there, so wind's coming from behind us. And regardless of what method you use to recover from this, you got to keep the nose straight, right? So pick something out on the right. Let's use that big apartment building over there by Clear Lake, right? That's what we're going to keep the nose pointed at, all right? And I got the flight controls. You can follow me here. So we're going to slow down here, and we're going to start falling through. We're less than ETL. Get those trim wings down. We've got greater than 500 feet per minute rate of descent, right? And so if we raise the collective to arrest our rate of descent, let's see if we get, oh yeah. Our rate of descent got worse, right? I pulled up the collective and it got worse, right? So we need to lower the collective, right pedal forward cyclic, get back through ETL, and then raise the collective and climb out of it, right? So what they want you to do is, your natural reaction is going to be to raise the collective to arrest your rate of descent, right? And you saw I raised the collective to arrest our rate of descent, and it went from 500 feet per minute to over 1,000 foot per minute in about a half a second, right? And so what they want to do is get that natural reaction of you raising the collective to arrest your rate of descent out of your system, right? So what you want to do is, this is counterintuitive, is you want to lower the collective right pedal, push forward on the cyclic, right? And then once you start moving, then you can raise the collective and get out of it. Because now when you raise the collective, now you're actually going to fix your rate of descent because you got rid of those vortices, right?
So, and yeah, I guess you raise the collective after ETL?
Yeah, so after you start moving forward, then you raise the collective, right? And so it's not like entering an auto rotation or something where you're going to lower the collective all the way down, right? It's just a slight reduction because we're practicing this thing at 1,500 feet AGL, right? But where this is really dangerous is if you're at 100 foot AGL, right? You're on a short final to a confined area, and you go from having a 500 foot per minute rate of descent to 1,000 or 1,500 foot per minute rate of descent in about a half a second. Yeah, you're going to be in the dirt pretty quick, right? And so what I always tell people is the easiest way to get out of this is don't get into it in the first place, right? Be aware of the conditions that are conducive to vortex ring state, and don't put yourself in that situation, right? And then if you do find yourself in that situation, early recognition and recovery is key, right? You want to take that immediate corrective action before it develops into something that you can't fix, right? And so be aware of the conditions that are conducive to it, and then if you do feel as though, right, you felt that vibration as we were getting, right? So vortex ring state does not happen immediately, right? It takes a little bit for those vortices to develop on the blades, right? And so you could have all of those things present, right, and not be in the vortex ring state per se, right? So this one, we're going to do this one kind of facing back the other way here.
Yeah, we have a power line, man.
Yeah, I got the power lines there. All right, so we're looking outside on the horizon here, right, and we're less than the, all right, so keep the nose straight, right? All right, so we've got greater than 300 feet per minute, we're less than ETL, we got at least 20% available power applied. Right now, you might have enough excess power, you can start pulling up, and right, so we climbed out of it, right? And so just because you got all three of those things present doesn't mean that you're in the vortex ring state. However, right, if you raise the collective and your rate of descent gets worse, right, then you're in the vortex ring state, right? And so rather than raise the collective, they just want you to lower it a little bit, right pedal, forward cyclic. All right, once you start moving forward, then you can raise the collective. And now when you raise the collective, you actually start climbing out. Right? So that's what we call the traditional method, is getting back through ETL is the easiest way to get out of it, right? And we're gonna come back around to the left a little bit here, because again, if we go through ETL, right, aerodynamically, we're getting the vortices off of the rotor blades, and we're gonna get out of it, right? But you might not have enough room to accelerate through ETL to get out of this thing. So what's another way is, you remember that video we watched on the Bouchard technique, and it's got the spray rig, right? We're gonna escape laterally to the right for this one, all right? And both of these recovery techniques take practice, right? Because neither one of them is like a normal reaction, right? All right, so we've got a tailwind, right? We're at low forward airspeed. Alright, we're going to start falling through here in just a second. Now the difference with the Bouchard technique is we're going to raise collective, left pedal, and right cyclic. Again, we want to keep the nose straight. Alright, raise collective, left pedal, and...
Jesus.
Alright, so you want to feel that wind coming into your door, right? Because we're escaping laterally to get out of it, right? And then once you're out of it, then get back in trim. Alright, so it takes quite a bit of left pedal to do this, and you need a little bit of right aft cyclic, but you have to be careful. You don't want to pull too much power, because you pull too much power, then you lose rotor RPM, and now you've introduced a new emergency procedure. Right, so we're going to raise collective, left pedal, and right, a little bit of right aft cyclic. Look out there, all right? And so typically you can recover from the vortex ring state with less loss of altitude using the Bouchard recovery technique, all right? And it takes a little bit, because if you put in just a bunch of left pedal as you're doing this, the nose is going to go to the left, but we don't want it to turn, right? And it takes quite a bit of left pedal, right? We're basically using translating tendency, right? We're using the tail rotor thrust to help us escape laterally to the right. And it's like a slip in an airplane, right? We're doing, it's an uncoordinated maneuver, right? We're putting in left pedal and right cyclic, which if we just put in left pedal and right cyclic without the corresponding raise in the collective, we'd probably start losing quite a bit of altitude, right? But because we add a lot of power when we do that, we're not losing much altitude. We're adding that tail rotor thrust to help us escape laterally. Now again, both of these techniques require practice, because neither one of them is very intuitive, right? The traditional recovery technique, right? If the ground is rushing up at you, right, your natural instinct is going to be to raise the collective to arrest your rate of descent, which, if you're in a fully developed vortex ring state, is going to make things worse, right? And so you're going to do this one, and we're going to do this the traditional recovery, right? We'll get back up to 1,500 feet here, and so it's not a lot of forward cycling, right? Because we don't want to nose this thing over like 30 degrees nose down or anything. We just want to get moving forward, right? Get back through ETL. All right, so you got the flight controls.
Have the flight control.
All right, so we're going to slow down here, right? So we're going to lower collective a little bit of right pedal, a little bit of aft cyclic, and pick something out on the horizon to help you keep the nose straight. All right, so we're going to start falling through here in a second. All right, trip strings are down.
Put the left, right, in a race.
So this one we're going to lower the collective just a little bit. All right, a little bit of right pedal to keep the nose straight. All right, and then we're going to push forward on the cyclic just a little bit, maybe about 10 degrees at nose down. Now let's slow down just a little bit here.
Yeah.
All right. Get this thing to start falling through, right? So trim strings are down, so we're less than ETL.
Right.
Greater than 300 feet per minute rate of descent. All right, and we got greater than 20% of available power applied. All right, lower the collective just a little bit more here. All right, so we got all three things required. Let's see if it starts a little vibration. All right, so we're going to lower the collective just a little bit of right pedal, push forward on the cyclic, keep the nose straight, nose straight, nose straight, nose straight, nose straight. You gotta keep that nose straight. Alright. Remember, look out there.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you don't want to pull in so much power that you're gonna droop the rotor RPM, because then you're just gonna give yourself a second emergency procedure. So now you're in the vortex ring state, and you lost rotor RPM, which may potentially lead to LTE. So now instead of just being in vortex ring state, now you're in vortex ring state, low rotor RPM, and a loss in tail rotor effectiveness, right? So you don't want to just, the next, congratulations, Tongue, now you got 3 emergency procedures to deal with instead of just 1, right? So look out on the horizon and keep that nose straight, because all we're doing is we're just going forward.
Right. I see. Shit.
All right. So this is just traditional recovery. We're just going to accelerate through ETL, and how we got 1,000 foot per minute rate of climb there with only 19 inches of manifold pressure applied. That's weird. All right, I think we got a little bit of a headwind right here. All right, so looking outside, keep that nose straight. All right, so we're gonna slow down here. There we go. Start to fall through. Keep that nose straight, nose straight, nose straight, nose straight. What are you gonna let it go? Don't let it go to the right. All right, nose straight. All right, just let it fall through, because all we're gonna do is just nose it over a little bit. All right. All right. Right, you want to keep that nose straight, right? So remember, as you lower the collective, you need less left pedal. You got to put in some right pedal to keep the nose straight, right? And we're just going to put a little bit of forward cycling in, because we want to accelerate, get back through ETL, right? That's the easiest way, right? And we're not lowering the collective a lot, just a slight reduction.
I'm confused. What the hell?
So we are looking outside. Remember, pick something way out on the horizon. All right. We got a greater than 300 feet per minute rate of descent.
All right.
All right. So we're going to lower the collective just a little bit of right pedal, forward cycling. All right, and then raise the collective left pedal. Keep that nose straight. And now now we're going to climb out, and we're going to rest our rate of descent, right? Because we got through ETL. Right, because once you go through ETL, right, you don't have any vortices on your rotor system anymore. Right, so that's the traditional one, right? Nose straight. And it doesn't matter what technique you use, got to keep that nose straight. Do not lose control of the nose. All right, now for the Bouchard recovery technique, it's going to be left pedal and right cycling. All right, so this time we're going to do the Bouchard recovery technique. Again, I'm keeping the nose straight. Raise collective left pedal and right cycling.
I see.
And so usually you can feel that upwind, that advancing side.
I feel it.
As soon as it gets out of the vortices, it's like boom, it catches and it starts coming up. All right, you got the flight controls again.
I have the flight control.
All right, so we're gonna do, first one we're gonna do is the traditional recovery. All right, all we're gonna do is lower the collective just a little bit of right pedal, a little bit of forward cycling. All right, and then once you start moving forward, then you can raise the collective.
Oh my goodness!
Alright, so we're starting to fall through right here. Keep us pointed that way.
Yep, there you go.
Alright, so we're going to lower the collective a little bit. Alright, just a little touch of right pedal, a little bit of forward pressure on the cycling. Alright, and then now we can raise the collective. There you go. See, it's not a real big. Right. Now, if you're obviously closer to the ground, you might want to have to do this a little bit faster than that. Right? But for now, we're just practicing. Right? We want to get the muscle memory. All right. So, and then let's slow down again. And this time, we're going to do the Bouchard technique. Right,
can we do this one more time?
Okay. Yep. We'll do the easier one first. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess probably the traditional technique is probably the easier of the two, because all you got to do is just accelerate.
It's more intuitive.
Alright, so we're at 1,500 feet here. Alright, so we're looking outside. We're going to lower the collective a little bit.
I will.
Alright, so keep us pointed over here. See the power plant up there by the by that lake? Alright, keep us pointed towards that. Alright, so remember, keep that nose straight. Alright, nose straight. And yeah, it feels kind of shitty, right? Because you got these vortices starting to build up on everything, right? And so we're going to lower collective, right pedal forward cycling, and then raise the collective.
Okay.
Right, and because once you start moving forward, then you can raise the collective again, and because you don't want to continue to have 1,000 foot per minute rate of descent, right? You're at 100 feet AGL with 1,000 foot rate of descent. Well, you can be in the dirt pretty quickly, right? Again, just keep the nose straight, right? There's a slight reduction in the collective. Push forward on the cycling. Once you start moving forward, then you can raise the collective and get rid of that rate of descent.
I think the battle got me. I got confused at some point, so
that's
it was
fine.
ball that roger. So
Yep. All
I
right.
think speak to the right. Jeez Christ.
All right. So let's do one more here. All right, your choice. You want to do the Bouchard one,
Yeah, I gotta do this one.
or you want to do another traditional recovery?
I do a traditional
recovery.
Jeez.
Like I said, all you gotta do is just lower the collective a little bit, right pedal forward cycling, right, and then once you start moving forward, then you can raise collective left pedal.
What about the pedal? Jeez. Okay, here we go. Slow down touch.
All right, again, looking outside. See this power station over there?
Yep.
All right, just keep us pointing towards the power plant. Bent nose straight, a little left pedal, bent nose straight. Alright, so we're just going to lower the collector just a little tiny bit of right pedal. Push forward on the cycling. Alright, now once those trip strings come up, then you can raise the collective. Alright, let's do a left turn back here, get back over that nice open field there. And that way if it turns into a real problem, we don't end up in somebody's backyard.
I got it now. I understand it. You know.
All you're doing, right, so the biggest thing about the traditional recovery is they don't want you to pull up on the collective, right? Because that's your natural tendency when the ground is rushing up at you is to pull up on the collective, right? And so all we're doing is just getting that little bit of muscle memory where, hey, I want to lower the collective slightly, right pedal forward cycling, and then I can raise the collective, right? And like I say, both techniques are counterintuitive, right? Both of them are not a natural reaction. Right? Both of them are not a natural reaction to it, right? And you know, I tell people the easiest way to get out of the vortex ring state is don't get in the first place, right? Be aware of the conditions and avoid those conditions to the utmost of your ability, right? And if for some reason you cannot, then the next bit is early recognition, right? Recognize, hey, this is not a good place to be, and fix it before it turns into something that is untenable, that you cannot fix, right? All right, so this time we're gonna do some pacing back this way. Alright, so go ahead and slow down a little bit here. And again, pick something out on the horizon that's going to help you keep the nose straight, right? Alright, so slow down a little bit more. So get those trim strings down so we're below ETL. Alright, now we're going to really start falling through here. Alright, feel that? It feels like shit, right? Alright, so we're going to raise collective left pedal and right cycle. Alright, go ahead.
Raise collective
left pedal. A little bit of right half cycle. There you go. Pull a little more. There you go. Not too much though. There you go. And you want to feel that wind coming in your door, right?
Cold.
Yeah, cold today. Today's maybe not the best day for that, right? Alright, let's do one more. Alright, slow down again.
Slow down.
And so you need that little bit of right aft cycling, because if you just put in that left pedal and right cycling, the nose tends to go to the left. Alright, so let's lower the collective a little bit here and get that rate of descent going.
45 left downwind.
So pick your spot out on the horizon out there.
Oops. Oh,
Raise selected left pedal right side.
raise collective. Oh man. That's something like that?
Alright, yeah, not too bad. Alright, I got all flight controls.
I have a flight control.
Alright, so,
Oh,
right,
it is advanced, man.
right, so if you don't have a greater than 20% power applied,
Okay.
right, then you're not in the Vortex ring state, you're in an auto rotation.
I see.
Right, however, alright, this is not going to help us in the rate of descent department, right, because we got a 2,000 foot per minute rate of descent now,
Right.
which is not real helpful. Right, so I'm just gonna nose this thing over, get a little bit of airspeed here. Right, we don't have enough rotor RPM that we're gonna be able to rest a 2,000 foot per minute rate of descent. So we need a little bit, at least 40, 50 knots to get a little flare down here at the bottom.
Look at the
So I had a student ask me once. He said, "Oh, wait, so I can do an auto rotation to get out of Vortex ring state?" And I said, "Well, not really, no." Right? Because that's not going to help your rate of descent at all.